Before we begin the video, if you haven't yet, come on down and join my Discord server. Link is down in the description. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel for our review of episode 6 of Master of the Mountain, Trial by Mino. Zane and Kai come across the Gecko's cave and are brought into Gecko Court, but no prison sentences here. The ninja are forced to fight a Mino creature. By taking off the armor, the ninja cool it down and also prove their innocence. Due to his ability to harness the element of fire, the Geckos vote to make Kai their new chancellor. As his first act, Kai requests to learn more about the Skull Sorcerer and his backstory. It's explained that 3 explorers were sent down from above to retrieve the skull of Hazadur, but this awakened a new evil, the Skull Sorcerer. And the episode concludes with Kai and Zane learning that bringing peace to the Monte Geckos will be harder than expected. First things first, I felt Kai and Zane were both actually pretty good in this episode, especially Kai. Ever since season 8 and especially in season 11, Kai really hasn't felt like before, but I think I wouldn't say this season he's great, but he's definitely not terrible. I felt he was good in this episode, and just the fact that he's not terrible like he was in season 11 is automatically an improvement. As for Zane, I guess he was cool as well, no pun intended. Zane, nothing special in this episode, but definitely not bad either. And one thing I've discussed about this season is the humor is definitely fairly decent, and I like the part where Zane talks about how he doesn't have a skeleton, and yeah, I feel like the humor is definitely better than the last 2 seasons. As for this episode's fight scene, not amazing, but I thought it was pretty good, entertaining, and definitely better than 5's. Ninjago's done something really interesting with the Mino creature, and it's that this is one of the first times we've gotten an animal set that isn't a dragon or snake. The creativity here is definitely apparent, and I like how the Mino creatures have been utilized very much in the show. I also enjoyed the plot point of the ninja having to remove the Mino creature's armor, and I thought that was a nice addition. And also some people have pointed out that season 13 is one of the only seasons where the ninja realize they're able to use spinjitzu even though their powers don't work. If you noticed in season 9 when Loi lost his powers, he didn't actually use spinjitzu once, so it's really nice in these last few seasons, especially starting with season 11, to finally see it being used more. Because spinjitzu is really cool and definitely enhances the fights to some extent. And lastly, this episode has more backstory. Tommy Andreessen was not lying when he said this season would have a lot of it. We're only 6 episodes in, and already 2 backstory scenes with multiple more on the way. The amount of backstory in this season is insane, in a good way, and I for one love it. I also like how they've been varying up the animation. In this episode, the backstory is presented on a cave wall. I really enjoy learning about the Skull Sorcerer, and also the explorers as well, who we're gonna see in a few episodes. Sometimes though, this episode feels kinda boring, and we've seen this exact story before. What comes to mind for me is season 9's Dragon Pit, where like this, the ninja are suspected to be threats and forced to fight a creature. Episode 6 just doesn't feel the most unique or most original, and that's fine, but it's not as good as episodes 2 and 4 were in that sense. Also, there's the whole ninja becoming leader thing, and I admit this is definitely done better than it was in episode 5, but it still just doesn't feel right. I just don't really buy that the Geckos and monks would suddenly be willing to hand over their leadership to foreign strangers. And it's awfully convenient that both tribes happen to elect a ninja at the same time. The better way to do this would have been to have had the actual leaders, the Chancellor and the Queen, work out their differences instead of the ninja doing everything. As I said yesterday, I think the ninja becoming leaders is honestly lazy writing, and there was a better way to execute this. And I don't know if my volume was too low, but I feel like sometimes I couldn't understand what the Geckos were saying. So this episode's plot, well paced and all, but basically Dragon Pit 2.0. Even the soundtrack, some of it is reused. And I don't mind them kind of reusing plot lines, but it's not the most exciting thing ever. That being said though, I did really enjoy the backstory scene, and this season's emphasis on lore is really cool. And as for characters, I enjoyed Zane, Kai, and the Geckos as well. And I do prefer the Geckos over the months so far. They just seem way less stereotypical and primitive, whereas the months on the other hand seem to fit both labels. Action in this episode was good, just a standard Ninjago fight, and emotion we'll skip. I'm gonna rate Trial by Mino a 7.5 out of 10. A good episode, but not great. I think this episode was fun, but at the same time felt pretty boring in areas. But yeah, stay tuned for my review of episode 7 on Monday, and also the halftime special this weekend. Thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed, be sure to leave a like, subscribe, share with anyone and everyone you know. Leave a comment explaining your thoughts on episode 6, Trial by Mino, and I'll see you next time.